Hello, could you please introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, I'm Samina. I grew up here in Delano. My mother and father immigrated to the United States, as well as me. I was born in the Philippines. Anyway, my father was part of the First Philippine Infantry Regiment, U.S. Army. Met my mother. He was wounded in action, and they decided to commit all their resources and give their children a chance, opportunity to come to America. And so it was drilled in our, our heads that education was the way to compete. If you want to compete in America, you better be educated. That was the mantra. So when we came to America, we lived in I lived in two Filipino labor camps. My father was a foreman. My mother was a cook. So our first camp had no hot water. It was built by the manongs at the camp from an old barn. No bathroom, so we had to walk to an outhouse. And it was in the summertime. It was hot, smelly, and full of wasps and mice. And in the wintertime, it was freezing cold. So that was our life, and until my father was promoted and he got a job in another camp. So we moved to another camp, and so that was my experience. And living in Delano, it was like a marginal life. You lived in a Filipino labor camp with men that worked in the camps, and you were amongst them because my mother was a cook. And so every day I would help my mom after school, wash 100 plates, 100 cups after every dinner, breakfast, and lunch. My mother, I appreciated her work so much because I was there. I watched her. We picked cotton. It was really a hard life. But somehow, I don't know how they did it. My parents, on farm worker salary, were able to send all of us to college. I don't know how they did it, and I still to this day it amazes me. Anyway, my time in Delano, it was the 60s, so America was going through a nervous breakdown, right? The anti-war demonstrations, civil rights movement, assassinations, Women's Lib, Indian American, AIM movement, all that was going on, and we were in the heart of the Delano grape strike. So there was a lot of memories. My brother and I were driving here, and we just had a flow of sentimental and also hard memories of growing up in Delano. But I'm so proud of what our generation has done. My classmates have been so successful, specifically my Filipino classmates, because all of our parents had the same mantra: we're going to come to America, we're going to sacrifice so you can have a better life. And so my classmates, Melba, Domi, Cynthia, they became very successful, and they were productive human beings that contributed to society. And that's why I'm so proud of what the Filipino people have done since we've arrived. So I know I'm on short time. I'm just a short memory of experiences, and I'm glad things like this occur. My brother's a president of the Filipino Historical Society Museum, and he and I are, we talk, and it's so cool of what they're doing. Anyway, I like Cynthia and Melba, have sweet and sour memories of growing up, the hard life, the difficulty, the issues about discrimination and institutionalized discrimination. But in the long run, I'm like Melba. The optimism and the hope that our culture, our people are going to continue to move forward and do well. And the legacy, part of the legacy is in this park. And so anyway, that's my feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does being here at the Larry Itliong Unity Park event, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot because I worked in the fields. I know what it was like. I know that there were no bathrooms in the fields, and I know how hard I worked and how my fellow friends worked. And so the movement, the organization of workers, that took a lot of courage, and you took a lot of fire. And at the time, it was totally against Delano, which was pretty much controlled by the farmers, the growers, and many of them were part of the school board, so they could dictate a whole lot of different things. And I'm trying to get a hold of Cynthia because her memory was part of the student walkout that occurred, and it was part of the whole movement of social justice, because students walked out, and it was unjust to disqualify somebody that was elected to ASB president, and in the midst of the Delano grape strike. So there were so many layers it was very complex. It was not so simple as, oh, we just walked out and all was good. It was a much more difficult time. So what it means to me is, because I worked in the fields, I know how hard it was, that somebody decided to take the bull by the horns and lead the charge, and to make life better for farm laborers and immigrants like myself. And so, again, the hope and the optimism I have, just like Melba, and sort of the memory and the anger and the intensity of the time, sort of like Cynthia. So I have that both. And having worked in the fields, it just conjures memories of not finding water to drink, or finding it was the white line, I don't know if you know about the white, that was where you did your restroom. And anyway, I'm not going to get into all the details, but it was tough. Living in the camp on payday was where the prostitutes showed up, and so there was another issue, or the cockfights that occurred. And I don't know if I have a whole lot of time. I got to tell you a story about my brother. He and I were supposed to be in charge of the watch, and Filipino men at the time, the cockfights, it wasn't just a blood sport to gamble. It was part of the culture, and it was part of people getting together and enjoying the food, and women would come by and sell bibingka and biko and everything else. And so my brother and I we lived on the camp, we built a tree house. My dad says, since you're up there and you can see all the entrances to the camp, you're on the watch. If the police show up, you gotta call out. So, okay, Dad, don't worry. So the cockfight's full on, and it's a huge one. Guys are practicing their chickens, combing them and getting them all ready. The fight's going on. My brother and I, we go down and we get chicken and knee-high sodas. And we're shaking them and we're spraying them on each other. And we're supposed to be watching, right? And we're eating chicken and spraying each other. And finally we hear, all the sheriff's, police cars all show up. Every angle is blocked off. And my brother and I, we go, oh crap. And my brother goes, police. Too late. All these old manongs are running with chickens underneath. Even the dead chickens, because the blades were very expensive. And so they picked up their dead chickens. They were running under the vines. The cops are chasing them. So where we're going, we're going to get killed when we get home. So we're really quick ending. They're writing license plate numbers, the police are, and all the men are hiding in the fields over by the Jasmine School. And so my brother and I, we sneak into our house. Sure enough, cops are pounding on our door. And so we opened the door. I was like 11, my brother was like 6. We opened the door, and we're looking at these giant Caucasian guys are looking down on us. And they go, where's your father? And we go, church? We both go, church together. The cop looks at us. He looks at us and he goes, he doesn't have a search warrant or anything. He just looked at us and he walks away. Sure enough, when my dad got home, he was coming in the door with a belt in his hand. My brother and I were running around the dinner table. My dad is chasing us with a belt. Anyway, that was just a story of life in the camps. There's just one. There's so many. But I wish I don't know. I don't have the time, but thank you anyway. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.